Today's video sponsor is Wowtac. Wowtac sent me this headlamp here to do a quick review for, and I'm going to do that with my honest opinion. Now, I have had a profession for well over a decade now where I've needed to use a flashlight on a daily basis, and it is one of my most used tools. I've always been using a high-power LED EDC light, everyday carry, and most of the time I've been using a Phoenix. Well, all of the time I've been using a Phoenix flashlight, and not too long ago, they started manufacturing cheaper versions of flashlights, a budget-friendly version, which is in the Wowtac market, which is supported by ThruNight. The Phoenix is a awesome flashlight. I love this flashlight. I've had other versions of the Phoenix EDC lights in the past, not quite as powerful as this one here, but all basically the same, close to the same size, and they're just really great lights. Not saying so much as the brand, they are a great brand, but I'm saying as far as the size and the power they put out and how long they last, it's priceless if you ask me, especially if you really need it. The Wowtac A2S is a headlamp. There is a Wowtac A2, which is basically the same as this. I think the beam angle is a little bit more narrow on that one, and it doesn't come with a headband. It's basically just a right angle flashlight. But other than that, the A2S is an identical light, which is a slightly more floodier beam. Now, I have not really used a headlamp so much for my profession. I have some older versions of LED headlamps, which are pretty much garbage, and they don't use rechargeable batteries. I never really liked wearing them. They weren't really that bright either. The reason why I got the Phoenix flashlight out here is because comparing these two flashlights, you can click to see beam shots of like the Phoenix PD36R in the link up here, but I'm showing you this here because the beam angle on the Wowtac A2S and the Phoenix PD36R are almost identical. So in the center of the beam you got a hot spot, and then you got the spill outside of that, which is where it projects the beam, and outside of the spill you have basically no light whatsoever. But the beam angles are almost identical. The hot spots are very close. The only difference between the Wowtac A2S and the Phoenix PD36R is the spill over from the hot spot to, or from the hot spot to the spill. There's a more of a blend rather than a sharp line. So with the Phoenix PD36R has a hot spot about the same size, but there is a very more defined line on that hot spot to where it transitions to the spill, the rest of the light, the beam angle, the total beam angle. So the Wowtac A2S, I'm going to talk about a couple things real quick that I like about it. I like that it's kind of lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy whatsoever, which is pretty desired if you're wearing it on your head all the time, especially when it's on your forehead. The button on the side here is actually a really nice button. It's soft to push. It's not hard to push whatsoever. It makes it really easy to use. Now, when it's on your head and you're trying to use one hand to turn it on and off, that's kind of essential. To if you're using like an EDC light with just one handed with a thumb pusher on the back of it, the pressure you use isn't as important, although you probably don't want it to be too hard. But the point is, this button here is nice and soft to push, which I like about it. It also comes with a 118-650 battery, and it is rechargeable in itself. You do not need a charger for it. You simply unscrew the base here, the battery comes out, and there's a USB port on it. You just plug that right into a USB socket and charge the battery. No external chargers, which is really nice. As a right angle flashlight, this one in particular doesn't come with a pocket clip. And obviously, a lot of headlamps don't really come with a pocket clip. Some do. Some higher end ones maybe cost a little bit more. You can get a pocket clip for this. If you get it for the size of another light that matches this, it can easily fit onto there because there's a slot on it, on the neck of it here, that it will definitely clamp onto if you really wanted to do that. But as a right angle flashlight, this is a really nice flashlight because you can take it out of the holster, the rubber holster that is part of the headband, and you can just set it down like this, and then you can aim it wherever you want it. It's basically like a tail stand of this light, except the Phoenix PD36R doesn't tail stand, which is the only thing I don't like about this light. They could have made it tail stand. That would have been really nice. But this light does that. So imagine if you had a pocket clip on this, or just bought a pocket clip. This is a great, very versatile light to have on you on a daily basis. And if you carry the headband, you also have that to wear in your head if you need it for that purpose. But yeah, you can tail stand it like this, or you can lay it down like this. If it's in the headband, it tends to want to roll back and forth if you're just hanging it on the table like this. But if you want to shine it straight up at the ceiling to get some nice diffused light in the room, just put it back in the holster and set it down just like that, and it'll face it up towards the ceiling. It's really great. What's nice about the headband is the fact that you can actually put it in here and you can tilt this light all the way down or all the way up. You have, full control over it, to where some headlamps you don't really have that much of an adjustment, but you can adjust it to wherever you need it to adjust it to. The top button on here controls the UI. I love the UI of like Wowtac and through-night flashlights. It's very simple to use. So if you hold this down while it is off, it goes into moonlight mode, and that puts out, I don't know, that's like a half a lumen or something like that. Or maybe they call it Firefly. I don't remember. I think that's branded or trademarked or whatever. But if you hold it down, you get that nice low output. So for headlamps, so if you're like camping or something like that, or hunting or whatever, you don't want to ruin your night vision, and you can put it on this low mode, or just the fact that you have a low battery and you can still have a usable amount of light with this if your eyes are already adjusted to the darkness. That's awesome. To turn it on, you pretty much just push it once on, once off. It's going to come back on in the last mode used. And if you hold it down, it's going to cycle through low, medium, high, which is fine for me. The Phoenix light has a button on the side, so when it's on, you just push it once to cycle through the modes. You don't got to hold anything down. I wouldn't really call that a pro or a con. It's just a personal preference. But most of the time, you're not really changing the brightness levels that often. So once you set it in that mode, you're pretty much going to leave it there. So yeah, you just cycle through like that. And then if you want to go to turbo mode, which I think is a little over 1,000 lumens, you just double click it. And it's pretty bright. I think the batteries on this are actually almost dead because I haven't charged it in a while. The one thing I don't really like about it is the headband itself. This headband here, the way that it's designed, it's soft rubber, so you wouldn't really think that's a big deal. But the way that the strap goes through it, the strap has to go through one side and out the other, and it creates like this little angle on the strap. And when you put that up against your head and it's pressed up there, it pushes the rubber edges into your skin. It's not hard plastic, so it's not that much of a problem, but it does kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I suppose you can get another strap or just do something different to put something over top of it to make it a little bit more comfortable to wear. That's all personal preference if you ask me. It's if you're not wearing it for a very, very long time, it's probably not a big deal. But if you were going to wear this for a while, that's kind of uncomfortable in my opinion. The one other thing about this light as a headlamp, the fact that the beam angle is a little bit too spotty in my opinion. Now, this comes down to more of a personal preference, because if you are a jogger or a runner or a biker and you're wearing this on your head or mounting it to your bike, that throw, the more spotty effect to it is probably very desirable. You want to be able to see a little bit further ahead if you're moving quickly. For people who are working in tight quarters, smaller spaces, or you just need something in front of your face so you can see what you're working on directly in front of you, you probably want a little bit more flood, and this doesn't really have that good of a flood. I would like to see the beam angle be a lot more wider, say almost at least 180 degrees out to where that spill is going to fill all the light around you, and maybe just a little bit less of a hot spot. You can still get that projection out there, especially with the lights that are brighter like this, but you don't really need to see that far. I don't really need to see 150 feet in front of me unless I was driving a car, to be honest. But those are really the only two things I have to say as a negative about it. The second thing I just talked about isn't really a negative. It's just more of a personal preference. However, having said all that, for only $30, this is a really good headlamp to use. There's not a whole lot of other ones out there that have this kind of quality and are this good of a deal with what you get with it, basically. A lot of headlamps out there that are a little cheaper priced don't come with rechargeable batteries. They don't last as long. They're not quite as versatile. So really good product for the price. That's what it comes down to. So if you're interested in this product at all, there will be links in the video description. They are affiliate links, so I do take a small commission on that, but it doesn't cost you anything. So that's it. Thanks for watching.